all about preparing for and conducting the discovery meeting, which is our first meeting that we have with a nutraMetrix health professional. This is after we have already established ourselves, who we are, what our mission is. We've been brave enough to open up and say hello and make a new friend. And now this meeting is all about them. This meeting takes about 15 minutes. And if you're following along in your practice planning guide for nutraMetrix consultants, we're going to start with what you do before you go ahead into the office, before you get on the phone with or jump on a Zoom with your practitioner. So the pre-call planning, I want you to go through this sheet because this is really going to help you sound intelligent when you're working with your first accounts. Of course, you're going to want to know the name of the practice. Look up the about page of their website. How many practitioners work there? Who's the owner? What are the staff members? Do they have multiple locations, or is that the only location? What does it look like their specialty is? Do they carry any products? Go over to their social media, their Facebook, their Instagram, read their reviews on Yelp, see what people say about them on Google. This is all really important. You're going to learn a lot, a real lot. I mean, how nice would it be if you saw that it was the practitioner's birthday yesterday, or they just had a new grandkid, you know, something that you can find some common ground, or that their practice was celebrating a big milestone or just had a write-up in a local paper. You know, there's some things you can bring into the conversation. You can make a friend, bridge the gap with that so much more quickly. People will ask me a lot, Sarah, you know, you have pharmaceutical experience, rep experience, you have sales experience. What do you bring with you? And I've got to be honest, for the discovery meeting, I print it out and I put it on a clipboard. I have a pen, and I usually have my cell phone and my car keys. And if I even have a bag, I have a bag. I don't, whoops, sorry about that, little baby in the background. I will go move. I don't tend to bring a whole lot or load anyone up with a ton of information. So I really try to keep it simple, but I'm going to go through, if I was to pack a bag, or when I am a little bit more organized and I do have a bag, what do I have in that bag? So I'll just go through this with you, because some people do feel more confident. And I have to say, when I started as a nutraMetrix consultant, when I first did, I found it was almost like my security blanket. You know, you're a little baby nutraMetrix consultant, brand new, and you know, it's nice to be able to feel safe. It's nice to be able to feel ready. So I do sometimes keep a turn up or an awake. That's for me, not for them. Also the protein bar. I have to say that I never want to go into a situation where I'm feeling hungry, I'm feeling like my blood sugar level's low, or I can't concentrate. I will bring 3 nutraMetrix daily essential packets and a nutraMetrix cup. I don't typically bring up product in the first appointment, but there has been those times where I come across someone and they're like, I used to have an account. I know about isotonics. I actually am a customer of isotonics. I can't find the person who used to supply me products. You know, so sometimes if it does go into products, I'll throw that in a bag. If I don't have it for, you know, I don't tend to bring it up in the discovery meeting. It does come up in the proposal, but it's in the bag. I ran out of business cards about 1.5 years ago, so I'm not going to even tell you I had business cards. But if that makes you feel more confident and comfortable, we have a template on the print center on shop.com. I do like to have my guides. So we give you guides for the full training already bound and printed, the practice planning guide, the HP implementation guide. I also like the frequently asked question document. A few protocols, you know, we have protocols on downloads for you, and a pre-call form that I just went over with you. I keep a few copies of a discovery meeting in my bag when my bag is fully packed. And that's just in case my current meeting gets canceled or I muster up enough courage to go somewhere else. I do have a few of these in case I need to do one on the spot. Wellness overview brochures, a catalog. If I'm really getting fancy, I'll have my computer. Mostly, again, just in case I have to wait for the provider. I don't typically wait more than 20 minutes just because I have 3 kids. I need babysitting. I don't have that sort of flexibility in my schedule. I feel like I would rather just reschedule and tell them, you know, I'm busy too. So but I will bring my computer in case I get there a little early. They're running a little behind. I have some work I can typically get done on my computer. Always, always, always registration information to the next health professional course, NC training, the next HP. I have this, right, a flyer for the next implementation course, or a flyer for the next online summit, some TLS Select information. The Passwater book, Live Better Longer. I love that book. So if you don't have those, you can order those in unfranchise.com. And I keep thank you notes. I think the art of writing handwritten thank you notes is long forgotten. And I will typically jump into my car or sit in the lobby of the office, write out a thank you note and drop it in the mail right there on the spot. So then it's done, it gets to them. I really have stood out in the marketplace. I'm much more memorable when I do have handwritten thank you cards. So it's something that I've consistently done. I am not going to show you any binders or notebooks I put together. This is why I have one from my friend Lynn Brienne, who is much more organized than I am. And she really liked these organizational systems and binders that she got from Staples, Office Depot. She can personalize them. So I'm just showing you, she tends to talk to a lot of Medi Spas. So she has a Motives one, she has a nutraMetrix one, she has one when she's talking to nutraMetrix consultants. Not my personality. And you know, we've gone through personality types, different types of NCs. I would love to have, you know, someone who's more of an implementation manager like a Lynn Briand on one side of my organization and another on the other side, because look at how phenomenally organized she is. Do you need to have this to be successful? Some people do. Lisa Grant loves having a binder system. But if you work with, you know, other nutraMetrix consultants like myself, you know, I have dozens of health professionals in my organization and I don't have a binder system. So, you know, do you need one to be successful? No, but if this is more your personality, just know you can create this as well. So, all right, how do we go ahead and conduct the discovery meeting? I have to say, lately, I've been having more and more discovery meetings. And this was even, you know, in the past maybe 3 years, I've done more discovery meetings virtually, the 15-minute appointment. One of the reasons is my organization has led to providers all over the country. And so I'm not able to, you know, take a flight to Alaska to go talk to my provider, Christy, who lives in Alaska. That just doesn't make a lot of sense. It's a lot better for us to be able to jump on Zoom, get on a FaceTime, just even a conference call. And this is how I've been conducting many meetings and even through implementation. But especially if I find that it's going to be more than, you know, maybe a 45-minute drive to get to someone, at least the first meeting is going to be over the phone. I'm not going to go to the office for the first meeting unless it really truly is within my stomping ground. I do think if you're new to working in the healthcare industry altogether, you need to try to get into as many practices as you can, because you probably have only been to your own, you know, primary care physician, your own dentist, your own eye doctor, your kid's pediatrician. You haven't seen a wide variety of practices and offices yet, and you really do need to have that within your repertoire to be able to speak to differences, get a little bit more comfortable in different practices as well. I have been into thousands of practices all around the country. So at this point, I know, you know, what a lot of different practices look like. I can get a good feel of what the practice is going to be like just from doing research online. But if you don't have that sort of experience yet, use this as an opportunity to be able to get inside of more practices, to become more comfortable with them. Before we get into anything, in case my internet drops off right now and this video stops right now, there's one thing I want to tell you, and that is where to find more information. You're going to want to go to the nutraMetrix, the official NC training channel on YouTube. There's a playlist called The Discovery Meeting that currently has 11 videos in there, and we keep on updating them. You're going to see a lot of different videos from myself, other trainers, other nutraMetrix consultants, all about the discovery meeting. So I really want you to watch some of these, continue the conversation. So great things to press play with while you're running some errands, doing some simple chores around the house, driving, you know, putting on your makeup, getting ready, whatever it is. you really want to try to brainwash yourself to be a complete hopeless success. Please keep things simple. This is a really simple appointment. That's what it is. It's about connection with the provider, learning as much about them. And I keep saying the provider, but there's going to be some times where the best you can do is to get in front of an office manager. Is that okay? It's totally okay. That's a great first start. If it means that you have to get in front of the office manager before you get in front of the provider, just know once you get in front of the provider, you need to redo the discovery meeting. Every time I meet with someone new in the office, I redo the discovery meeting. So like I said, I go in with the discovery meeting form on a clipboard so I can take notes, and I tell them, just so you don't mind, I'm going to take notes so I remember what we talk about. I have it so I have the questions pretty much memorized, but I still use the list to be able to prompt me through it. You have to have an attitude of how can I help you? And they might stop you. They might say, I don't really know a whole lot about you. And it's like, well, we have so much to offer. I tell them, I'm just going to get through these questions. I promise you can ask me some questions after, but I'm going to be out of here. I say we're going to get through this in about 15 minutes. Is that about how much time you have? And that's what I do. So the things you're not going to do, the reason why it's only 15 minutes is you're not going to load them up with stacks of information. You're not even going to talk about product. I once met with a physical therapist. I ended up selling her a website. We never even ended up talking about product because I found out that a website was the next thing she needed. And guess what? I happen to know a guy in a division with MA Web Centers who could help her out with a website. Don't just rush to the money unless that really is the primary focus. Unless you booked an appointment based on saying, they said, I just need some quick cash for my practice. Unless you knew some reason, you're not going to really know why they're looking until you find out more about the practice. Listen way more than you talk. And there was a study done out of Harvard that showed that people who asked a lot of questions were actually perceived as being much more attentive, much more compassionate. Someone who, they had a really positive experience at the end of that interaction when the other person actually just asked a lot of questions. So it might seem a little funny that you're not telling them a whole lot about you, but I promise you, it doesn't seem funny to them. They're perfectly fine with that. All right, let's just have a reality check. Is it even possible to tell them everything that they need to know? Can you tell them not just about nutraMetrix, but about isotonics and all the delivery systems and all the trainings we have in our parent company, Market America and shop.com. And we founded in 1992, A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, 2-time Torch Award winner. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Can't even tell everyone everything in 30 minutes or even 3 hours. There's no length of time that's going to be able to get everything out there. So the goal is just to gather information. You're going to come back with a custom solution right for their needs, their patients, their business goals. It's going to have a great foundation for the mission and vision, and you can begin to create something that's remarkable for them, I promise. When you go with a truly customized, unique proposal, they are wowed by that. Ask enough questions and listen deeply so you can get to the next step. But be ready. Be ready. That's why you're doing these trainings. That's why you're investing the time here with us. Because what if you only get 5 minutes? You're 5 minutes into the discovery meeting and the doctor's called out for emergency surgery. What if you need a second visit to follow up? Go ahead and schedule that. What if you say, oh, no problem, let's wrap this up over a phone call? What if, though, on the other side, they gave you more than 15 minutes and they say, oh, I had a whole hour blocked off? What I do is I set a timer on my phone. I set a timer for 15, if I'm feeling generous, 20 minutes. I put it on silent so it's going to vibrate. I usually will set it on my Apple Watch because I know that vibrates on my hand. And I say, I got to go. I'll tell them how much time I have. The problem is I've had consultants do this where they're like, oh my goodness, it was great. Our first meeting ended up being 90 minutes. You booked a 15-minute appointment. It lasted 90 minutes. Do you have that friend that calls you and when the phone rings, you're like, I can't pick up the phone right now because I know it's at least going to be an hour-long conversation? Yeah, you just became that friend. You just became that type of person that they think every time you walk over that threshold into their office, ugh, boy, are they in for it. Over an hour, at least, you're going to stay there for. If you're bright, brief, and gone, they're going to be looking forward to your next appointment, looking forward to the next interaction. They know that it's just slivers of time, and they can invest that with you. That's fine. You're not asking too much of them. Hey, what if they've already heard of the company? What if, again, like someone came in and told them about it and then totally ghosted them? They've never heard of that person ever again. Have account setup sheets with you. Be ready for everything. That's why you're doing these trainings. You're reading through your practice planning guides. What if? This is what everyone dreads. Everyone dreads not knowing an answer. Do you think that the first time I was asked for the clinical studies on OPC3, that I knew them off the top of my head? Do you think even today, there's sometimes where people will ask me something? I was just asked something about gene SNP DNA analysis just yesterday. And I said, I don't know the answer, but I'll be happy to get that for you. Or I'll be happy to make a conference call with you with our clinical director, Dr. Mason, or another contact. I'm happy to get some course information for you. That sounds like the exact thing that they cover at our upcoming summit. Or I can put together a science packet. I'll bring it by. I'll send you a Dropbox link. We can email it to, I'll text it to you. Whatever it is, just follow up. That's all you need to do. You're not going to know everything. So what are you taking with you other than a good attitude? You're a consultant. You're not selling anything. You're really, the only thing you want to sell is the follow-up appointment. You want to see how we can put together a customized solution for the vision and mission of their practice so you can support them. You could take the whole NC implementation workbook just in case you want to know what the next step is, but it's fine just to take, like I said, I have the discovery meeting on a clipboard. Quality, you might want to print off quality statements from the nutraMetrix business presentation or the website or the frequently asked questions, just in case they say, I'm familiar with nutraMetrix. That happened to me just today in a first conversation with someone. And they knew they'd done enough research that they knew it was a supplement company. They knew to say, well, there's no way I can recommend things that aren't FDA approved. Well, we had to have a little bit of a lecture on, actually, that's not even the body, the people that are responsible for supplements. Not the right question. The right question is, how are the manufacturers approved? Are they GMP compliant? Do these products have certificates of analysis? How is the manufacturing process and the distribution process? How is that quality control process there? Now, I knew all that from the frequently asked questions from nutrametrix.com. It's all there for you. Follow through with closing questions. It's really important to get to the end. If you don't get to the end, schedule a follow-up or a little phone call, or say, I just have a few more questions. How about I just text them to you? And then we'll book a proposal. That'll be about 30 minutes. It's important to discuss their mission, their vision, where they're going, where they want the practice to be, not about where they are today, because you're really customizing a program to support the vision. Isn't it going to be a lot different, a practitioner that says they want a second location in 3 years versus one who says they want to retire in 3 years, right? I think that an extra $300 a month is very different than $3,000 a month. Keep the discussion, though, on patient benefits. It's still why, how, and what. You want to know why. You want to know, what are their patients' problems? What are their complaints? From there, would it be helpful if they had support that does X, Y, and Z? Would it be helpful if the solution helps patients and the profitability of your practice? Is it value to you in the practice if we can bring that? Keep going with the discovery meeting. If they kind of keep leading the conversation and you feel like you need to give them a sample 80% protocol or a large, medium, small, book the follow-up and say, this is what we'll talk about in the follow-up. It might include something like a daily essentials packet. I will bring that to you in the follow-up. It might be a protocol with one of our bundles. I'll bring those to you in the follow-up. You can allude to things, but that's what you're going to talk about during the proposal. Print off the practice planning guide. Take it with you. The next steps are always in the guide. And sometimes the health professional is ready for more right now, and you do need to at least know what those steps are. to be ready for those. That's why you have to read through it, watch our recordings on YouTube, and keep several discovery meeting appointments and pre-call forms in your bag in case, again, they want to walk you next door to meet the physical therapist. You happen to be passing by a pediatrician's office on your way out of the building. You never really know where it's going to lead. So plan for massive success. Tell the universe you're so ready for massive success, and it will be there for you. So we'll go through just really quickly the discovery meeting questions. These are on page 8 and 9 in your practice planning guide. And you're going to use this guide and the script. At the beginning, you're really just confirming the information to say, this is your only location, correct? They might say, oh, we just closed on a building in the town next door. We're opening a second location. Or, oh, we're moving locations, actually. This is our last month here. You don't really know. I'll confirm whatever staff members I see on the website, but they might say, oh gosh, that's so old. Now, then I might talk to them about websites if they haven't made some updates to their websites in a while. But I'll do that. And then based on the research, so there's a dentist I work with and she's an airway specialist. So I'll say in my, primary research on your practice, I noticed you're an airway specialist. Is that right? Are there any other specialties or area of interest? I found out she's also a graduate of the Institute of Integrative Nutrition. What are the 3 most common patient complaints? Well, she would say TMJ, trouble sleeping, and headaches from grinding their teeth. Now, do you provide any wellness services? She didn't really know. No, not really. Nothing to speak of. If no, then say, do they ask you? Do they ask you for any natural alternatives? What percentage of the patient base out of the last 10 patients, how many asked you for that? Do they ask you to recommend a good multivitamin, omega, or anything else? I might say for the dentist, like a CoQ10, a calcium, you're having any supplement conversations. How many are asking? Can we create an estimate based off the last 10 patients you saw? What did you see yesterday? I might ask what the current protocol is for patients who require weight loss. Would I ask that of a dentist? Totally. I'm going to find out if they're talking about nutrition. I'm going to ask them, do you take your patient's blood pressure? Some dentists do. This is something I'm asking. At what point do you refer out to a specialist? Do you have any specialists for weight loss? Dietitians, physical therapists? Sometimes you have to lead them, so they know what you're saying. What am I doing here? Does anyone know? I'm trying to get their referrals right off the bat. I'm trying to see if they have a network. I'm trying to see if they're a good candidate for a full account. I'm going to ask them if they provide any education on preventative health or lifestyle advice. Is that on the website? I didn't see any on the website. Do you have handouts in your office? Do you provide any kind of testing for your patients? This is where I want to find out what kind of blood work do they do? Hormones? Are they doing genetic testing, functional movement screenings? What are you doing? Anything innovative? Are there any anti-aging solutions? All right, am I going to ask this of a pediatrician? No. So you have to use a little bit of common sense. This is why you need to really read through this and refresh your memory on this before every discovery meeting. And some of these questions just aren't going to be appropriate. It doesn't mean skip around. There is a method to the madness here with these answers. Now, the next couple set of questions are really important. Would it provide value to you in the practice to have cash flow available for career advancement or financial incentive programs for your staff? You have to figure out some way to make that sentence your own and be able to ask them. Don't skip over it. As a consultant, you can't be afraid talking about money. Realizing everything in the office must be revenue generating to be given, the time and attention that it deserves. How much revenue would a wellness program need to generate to make it worthwhile? You see that pause? Ask it and be silent. Don't be uncomfortable. Sometimes they'll say, I really don't know. And I'll say, well, we don't want it to lose money, right? And they'll say, of course not. And I said, well, is this, would it be helpful to have enough money to hire an extra staff member or, just a little bit extra, maybe to buy the office lunch once a month? Where are we on the spectrum? So I'll kind of give them some options. We want to meet our revenue expectations and goals. in addition to generating revenue, we also look for ways to help the practices save money on everyday items. So who in the practice is responsible for these purchases? Right? That's the person I'm going to talk to about shop.com. And that's the person I'm going to talk to about using quill.com and Staples and our shop direct partnerships for things around the office. We want to meet your revenue expectations, but we want to be realistic. So we need some basic information. So which days do you see patients? Not all providers see patients 5 days a week. So I like to figure out which days. It also helps me to just know if I was in the area to bop by, when are they in practice and when are they not? Are they full days or half days? How many patients do you have in the practice? That's important. How many do you see weekly? Usually from there, I can figure out, how many patients we're talking about. You also have to kind of use your brain a little bit too, because for a chiropractor, they might see, they might have 100 patient visits, but 20% of their patients they're seeing 3 times a week. So do they really? No, they really have like 80 patients they're seeing weekly, 80 different patients. Physical therapist, it might be the same. If a provider uses a local distributor for their supplies, great, Joni, no problem. That's fine. I mean, I doubt that they use a local distributor for all their supplies. Like usually the person that, provides them with their paper is not providing them with their toilet paper, so it's not always the same kind of vendors. The person that provides them again with their, toilet paper may or may not be the same person that does coffee for the office. So yeah, I've never heard that before, that just one vendor for all the stuff. Do you have an active email marketing system or newsletter? Why am I asking that? I'm not coming in and creating marketing newsletters for them. I'm not doing anything like that. I just want to know, do they have the ability to be able to launch a nutraMetrix program via email, to tell their patients about this via email? So if no, would you be open to creating one? Again, I'm not doing this for them, but I just want to see if they're open to it. Then I say, I'm going to create a sample implementation proposal based on the answers. We'll put together a plan for the full vision. But one last question, this is really important. When you look forward 5, 10, 15 years and you look back and you say, I did it, what have you achieved? And just give them some time. Give them some time to dream here. Write it all down. We're going to create a customized solution proposal for your office. We'd like to schedule 30 minutes to go over the solutions we propose and, some potential revenue generated. Who do you want to be here with you? Who should I talk to schedule the meeting? Is it yourself? Do we book this directly? Should I go back to, Peggy at the front desk? What time and day should I ask for? And do you have any other questions? So usually at this point, I'm kind of like packing it up, getting ready to go. I've really dictated the conversation for most of it. So, it's really a simple thing. Go through the discovery meeting appointment form. And I really hope that you get on the nutraMetrix group, tag someone else, tell them that tag some people, say, I was just on with Sarah. I would like to practice one, especially with Zoom now. One of you play the doctor, the other play the NC. I would love to see pictures of you guys practicing the role play of the discovery meeting. The more you practice, the more you get out there, the more successful that you'll be. Go out there. This is a really fun appointment to get to know providers, to get your nutraMetrix business off the ground.